Shelley Winter Show. We're covering from top to bottom with guests tonight the Fulton County FBI investigation that happened on yesterday. Yesterday morning. We were off the air yesterday, so we're covering that. The one story today that we're covering. And let's go to Josh Mckoon. He's the chair of the GOP, another good friend of the Shelley Winter Show. Josh, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Shelley.
Not a problem, Josh. I know I want to get to the year anniversary of the Laken Riley Act. I do want to talk about that. But before we do that, what is the Republican Party's official stance on what happened yesterday in Fulton County?
Well, Shelley, I think this was inevitable. And it really goes back to when President Trump filed his lawful election contest in 2020. And he and my predecessor, David Schaefer, couldn't get their day in court. You know, in this country, when we have a disagreement about something, we go to court, we get in front of a third party, a judge or a jury, we put on evidence, and then sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and you move on. But that never happened in Georgia because they never gave President Trump or Chairman Schaefer their day in court. And so there's been legal battles. The state elections board, all kinds of folks have said, we just want an independent review of these ballots. And, as you pointed out earlier, this action that occurred yesterday was not on orders of President Trump. This was career law enforcement officials going to a magistrate judge who was put on the bench when Barack Obama was president, who signed off on the warrant and said, there is probable cause of evidence of a crime, go get it. And that's what happened. There's nothing more, nothing less to it. That's what happened yesterday.
Now, I had Bridget Thorne on, Fulton County Commissioner, as you know, who said one way or the other, after this action, whatever we find, right, do we move on from this after this, whatever we find, do we move on as a party?
I think absolutely. People forget, Shelley, that the Fulton County elections were being run so poorly in 2020 that a Democrat appointee on the Board of Elections joined the Republicans to vote to fire Richard Barron, who was the election superintendent at the time.
Yep.
Fulton County has been a significant problem in terms of fair administration of elections, whether that's due to incompetence or something more sinister. And so I think we will all be able to rest easy after there's been a thorough independent investigation, and that's why people are glad, at least on the Republican side, are glad that this happened yesterday.
Absolutely. Well said. Well said, Josh. Year anniversary of the Laken Riley Act. What do we, great bill put forth by Mike Collins, who's running for Senate now. What are your thoughts?
Well, Laken Riley became a symbol of really what was wrong with the Democratic Party's approach to immigration. And their approach was to have no borders, no vetting, to allow criminal illegal aliens to come into the country. And tragically, Laken Riley was a young woman full of promise, wanted to serve others, wanted to be a nurse, and her life was tragically cut short because of the horrible policies of not just President Biden, but really the entire Democratic Party. And, we're still trying to get John Ossoff to say Laken Riley's name. He voted against the bill. Then he flip-flopped when he realized he was potentially in political trouble. And that act really symbolizes how important it is that we protect our own people. And I think that's why President Trump was so successful in 2024, is that the average person understands it's common sense to be able to control who can come into your country. And unfortunately, the Democratic Party continues to double and triple down on this idea that we should have no borders and we should have no protections against criminals coming into our country.
Do you think that is our win going into the midterms? Immigration, the actions of the Democrats, and there was something in my head that the other one was election integrity here in Georgia, not nationally, but just here in Georgia. Do you think those are the two issues that our candidates should focus on?
Look, I think Republicans have a lot to be proud of in Georgia, both at the federal level. There are lots of wins that President Trump is delivering for America on the economy, on border security, all across the board. But at the state level, when you think about it, Shelley, we've had Republican governance of Georgia for over 2 decades. And what have we seen during that time? Steady economic growth, full employment. We got, 3.5% unemployment in Georgia right now. We've got more jobs than we have people to fill them. These are good problems for us to have, but they didn't happen by accident. They happened because you had strong conservative leadership that said, let's figure out how to make it easy to build a business, take care of your family, educate your children, give them a better life than you've had. And I just would challenge folks to look at areas that are dominated by Democratic governance in this state. I don't want the state of Georgia governed the way Fulton County is governed or the way DeKalb County is governed. If you look at the last 20 years, we've had great leadership, and we want to keep that going. We want to continue to set the standard for the country in terms of economic development, economic opportunity. That's where Republicans win, is when we talk about what we've accomplished and we contrast it with what the Democrats would offer. And I think that's a winning message in 2026.
All right, you're bringing me back home, Josh. I was on the fence there. You're bringing me back home. I was starting to make calls to the Libertarian Party, but you're bringing me back home, brother. I will see you on Saturday afternoon at 3:00. Are you're going to be coming out and making some opening remarks at the 14th Congressional District candidates town hall?
I can't wait to be with you, Shelley. This is really the official start to the campaign to succeed Marjorie Taylor Greene. We obviously have a lot of great Republican candidates. We're going to begin that process, I think, of winnowing the field, letting Republican voters see, and I know you'll do a tremendous job of asking the tough questions that need to be asked.
Absolutely. I will see you Saturday, my friend. God bless you, and keep up the great work, my friend.
Thank you so much, Shelley.
Yes, sir. 404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB Talk. I'm going to take these calls when we come back. And then I want to tell you, Nicki Minaj just overspent for her citizenship. I'm going to tell you why. I'm also going to take these calls. This is Shelley Winter Show. We'll be right back.